Hello, good evening. Welcome along to the JACKOCAR Cup Series. We are here for round 5, the traditional round 5 here on F1 2020, just here on the league in general as well. It is Silverstone, it is British Grand Prix, the first of 2 visits to this venue this season, once on the full track tonight, and then well later on in the season, we'll be back for the short layout in what will be our 5th anniversary race. So that's a wee bit down the line, just a month away. But we'll be here twice this season. And this is the first of those 2. Like I say, this is very much the traditional round 5 slot. We always enjoy ourselves here. And we're hoping for another exciting race. A race which doesn't have Kyle Smith in it, who won the last 2 times we came here in the Cup Series on this layout. So it's a mystery who's going to win this one. Well, it's not a mystery, it's your team. I'm your commentator, Owen Wyatt. With me is Jacko, who, would be here every week, but he sent me a very concerning message earlier saying he's going to be missing Monaco, so enjoy this. We've had a 5-race streak of perfect attendance from us two. All good things will come to an end this week. This is good for us, but, what can you do? Jack Ricketts.
Oh well, hello, thank you, Owen Wyatt. What an entrance that was. It was almost like Championship 5 night. But it's not. But the speed and the rate that we're getting through these races, it won't be long until we are at Championship 5 night in Australia, by the way, on, May 11th or something ridiculous like that. Hello, everybody. Silverstone, round 5. We love it here, the home race of JACKOCAR. And it's every race we've come here, whether it's a short track or this layout, it's always been a good race, other than the Championship 5 race of Season 7. So we are anticipating a banger, and I do hope we get one, which would be true to form with the way this season has gone so far.
A season which has only seen 3 winners so far. We did see our first repeat winner, first back-to-back winner in fact, earlier in the week on Tuesday when Johannes won what was quite a chaotic race in Baku, which is what you'd expect. We used up the safety car limits, many cars in many walls, and mixed up order, the usual really. So we might end up seeing maybe a more traditional sort of race tonight. It's a proper racetrack for a start, not one that's been constructed with walls only. So this should maybe see the cream rise to the top, although they've been doing so anyway this season. Corey and Jake O'Sullivan, the other 2 winners from the first 2 races of the season. And coming out of the pits now is Florian, who didn't have the best run, did he, last week? But he's not even on the championship leaderboard yet. That's how it's going for him. There are 20 names on there, and he's not one of them. So he needs to get some points on the board.
He should be on there, but somebody, the person who does the standings, forgot to remove Casper and add Florian. So if he were on there, Owen, he'd actually be 20th anyway. And should he not outscore Casper by the time we get to the end of round 12, Casper would actually be re-offered the full-time seat for the postseason. That's such a situation that Florian finds himself in. So that's quite exciting. I don't see Florian not scoring. Obviously need 11 more points across 7 more races. It should be fairly achievable, but you never know. So yeah, here we are on the Exeter Chapel on the outlap of Florian Meyer, now a full-time driver in Cup Series.
Indeed. So we will see how he gets on tonight. A race once again as well. Actually, we need to mention Jokers because we haven't had Jokers in recent weeks. We will have one tonight, but we'll talk about him when he's out on track. We'll focus on the Germans because once again we've got loads of them on the grid. Don't know how this has happened, but
5 of them.
I know 5 Germans. How have we managed this? Not that it's a problem. At least they're willing, unlike some of the Dutchies. But that's more of a football problem. But we'll worry about that when Jacko Ball returns on the 5th of February, as we watch Florian through the first sector now. Traction might be a problem for some of the drivers out here. They may be caught out by it. It's the usual sort of pitfalls that we mention every week, really, every race we go to, where it's just not as grippy as it was in 2024's game, blah blah blah. You know all this by now. It looks pretty well put together so far from Florian. The one thing that we will have to keep an eye on, which we always do, is ERS, particularly out of club, the final sequence of corners, because it always basically runs out there as, nearly having a big moment at Cops there was Florian. With a corner you can spin it if you take too much curve, and he turned in too early. Possibly trying to counteract the tiny bit of input lag you have on this game. We might see more drivers making that error. You can also see that happen in turn 1. 2 flat out kinks, I suppose, is not a surprise. Maybe even at Maggotts and Beckett's as well. Stowe shouldn't be too much of a problem, you can pretty much send it through here, but yeah, keep an eye on that ERS gauge, we'll see when it runs out. It should be before the finish line, if I remember correctly. I hope it doesn't, because it makes our life a lot easier, and maybe it won't, which is good news, as Florian comes out in the final corner, which means, yeah, we can just focus on the laps. 1 minute 26.0. That shouldn't be a pole position time. The last 2 pole positions we have had here were 1 minute 25.4 from Jamie Wright in Season 2, and a 1 minute 24.2 from Kyle in Season 3.
Of course, Kyle was on pole for one of them, the Silverstone Master. And of course, this is the stat that I'm going to steal from you, Owen. The first ever Joker winner that we ever had. Of course, we seem to think, or have thought for a few seasons now, that it was OKK in Monza Season 2, but it wasn't. It was Kyle around here on this game, the first ever Joker winner. And here comes Leroy then over the line. Bit of a moment, but a new pole time nonetheless. That's Leroy on the board. Now, I do expect this next lap to go a lot faster. It's the one replacement tonight. In for Matt Lester, it is, of course, Tony Kirkpatrick. JACKOCAR come knocking, and this time he answered. And here he is into Stowe then.
I hope that's not a default livery he's got on there. Maybe that's his punishment, getting himself an invalidated lap. And I tell you what, it may well be a fast one, because he's fast. He's very, very, very fast. That's what I'm saying, he's invalidated at the time, but it'll be a quick one. 24.4. He'll have a decent charge from the back, I would have thought. If you thought he was fast in 24, this bloke in his prime was just ridiculous. And it was around this time, maybe a bit earlier than this, but still, these gens of cars he was pretty damn good at. So we'll watch his progress through the race. As who's next up? Dustin. Can I find Dustin? The car directly behind. Have I missed him? Has he had another moment through Cops?
Oh, he had a massive moment through Cops. And another one here. How about that? He's off. But can he keep it valid? I mean, the lap is gone, but can he get back on track and at least finish the lap? There's nothing coming. And he gets away with it, but we may as well move on, Owen, to the next man. Robin Border, another German. What a shame for Dustin. He was certainly committed. You can say that much.
Yes. Might see that a couple of times. I mean, you saw the tyres overheating as well. They were well over 130 degrees, which is another thing, which is a bit of an issue with these cars. You have a spin. Good luck cooling the tyres down. You can even see it, look, on board Robin. He's invalidated, but you can see the temperature's like 120 degrees on the front left. That can't be right. It's now gone back down, but if the temperatures are spiking that much, then it's not a surprise to see people making errors. But anyway, that's another invalidated lap. So I suppose we can move on again, this time to Baza. Looking good as well.
Technically a home race for Baza. He won't like to say so, being the proud Welshman that he is. But no Welsh colours today, you'll notice. A purple and black with a hint of, is that gold, would you say, on there? Why not? Very, very different for Baza. But gets through Cops unscathed, does the Welshman. And he's still waiting for his really good result. This was a game, and we've said it already this season, he was very, very good on compared to the more recent games. We're just waiting to see that one good result come to him. Of course, he's got to try and beat the P3 that he got last season. I can't remember where that was, but that is his ever result in Cup Series. Thank you very much. Of course, France returns to JACKOCAR in Season 11, the Paul Ricard Super Speedway for the first time on F1 2020. But here comes Baza around the final corner. He goes P3.
Michael!
Oh, he hasn't.
Oh, of course he has. He's only just got through the first. Oh, it's so disappointing.
I love how angry you got.
I just want to see him have a good race. The joke's dead, and Pete's gone off as well, but that's on a night lap, so we'll pretend we didn't see that. But for goodness sake, Michael. Oh, dear. You got to hit form at some point. Surely. One day. Right, Ben Harrett. You got a whole lap of her, for free, really. Don't mess it up. I'm begging you.
Ben Harrett not hitting the usual heights that he normally does. Has very much fell back down to earth on this game. But again, like Bazza, he does have a good result in him. He just needs to explore and find it. And maybe on home soil, he can do that.
I don't think he ever raced on this game, did he, when we were going through the natural sequence? I feel like it was season 4 he joined, wasn't it? So maybe it's a bit of an adaptation. Could be his excuse. It'd be a great excuse. If you haven't got an excuse already, there you go, you've now got one. But yeah, maybe just getting used to it, I don't know. Although saying that, we're on to our 3rd week of racing now. You really should be used to it by now. And in fairness, he's looking decently quick as you get not a very useful toe off Michael, but a toe nonetheless. As he comes round Stowe and into the final sequence of corners. His ERS is looking a little bit lower, but we didn't see it run out on Florian, so I assume it won't run out for anyone. As round the final corner, Ben Harrett should go onto the front row and does, just misses out on P1. Not a bad lap, I think he'd be relatively happy with it.
Yep, Sullivan Lewis already in the final complex of corners. Again, ERS in hand, and over the line he goes. A new pole time of 23.32 thousandths of a second quicker than Leroy Hasellager. But now, the main event. It's Peter Knighton. He hasn't invalidated Owen. And here he comes then onto the old pit straight. What can this man do this evening? He's not the Joker, but he is very, very fast. He loves it around here.
Ferry nearly won this race, didn't he, a few seasons ago? I want to say it was season 8 or 9, and it was Gareth Hall who decided to crash him out. His own he was trying to help him, I think, by blocking the field, and then he tried to pit and thought it'd be a great idea to just cut across the whole field on the exit of Stowe. And this is about 5 laps out from the checkered flag, where the whole field had to make a pit stop ahead of Pete. And while he had front wing damage, he would have led by about 15 seconds. He'd have won the race. And I'm sure that'll be on his mind tonight, because this is a game he's good at. He's now got the result. He finished P2 in Baku. He's going to go fastest here now. And Pete, hopefully, getting himself into some good form. And like I say, it looked like he had an off on his eye. Maybe he didn't. Maybe no one saw it. But he's gone P1 for now. And so all is forgiven and forgotten.
You know what, Owen? He's only 2 tenths off of Tony's time. And we mentioned how quick he is around here. So that's very promising for Mr. Knighton. We have moved over, though, to a certain Kieran Spears, who left us on Tuesday to go and race in TGP. It wasn't a waste, though. He won both races in TGP on Tuesday, so fair play to Kieran. He said he was planning on winning Imola. He did, and then he won the other race, so a little bonus. Can he come back to JACKOCAR and win free from free for the week? Here he comes, and Kieran Spears, P2, shares the front row with his Team Speed teammate. In fact, Team Speed occupy the top 4 slots. And here's another one from Team Speed. It's Gareth Hall, who also would argue he nearly won this race a few seasons ago. But, yeah. I'll let you talk about that one.
There's a lot of lost victories around here. It was season 6 for him, wasn't it? I forget actually what happened, but he led for ages, had a chance to pit, and I think the safety car maybe just came at the wrong time. But he was going to win. That was Kaya. Oh, bloody hell. Well, that explains the hatred of him, doesn't it? But not that we hate him, of course. But anyway, he does. But through the final chicane he comes. Chicane where, of course, we saw Michael Okeke, of course, lose a win as well. Here. Dang. And Gareth, he goes P6. There's a lot of heartbreaks, actually, around this track. I think, was it not that season 6 race as well, where Michael then lost after Gareth lost? Just a horrible sort of 6-7 laps for all of the fans of those lot, of all the underdogs. Speaking of underdogs, hope he doesn't mind me saying this. It's Jamie won that race, didn't he? But it's Michael Okeke at the moment.
Yep, Jamie Griffiths, the Welshman, winning on English soil. But Mike Kelterborn, 2-time race winner in the Cup Series, Azerbaijan of Season 2 and Canada of Season 9. Does he have one more win in him before we close the doors? Although lots of people are talking about Season 12, it must be said. Over the line comes Mike. He goes P7 behind Gareth Hall, which moves us on to another man who has won here before and should be winning this season. Back in green and black, it's Jamie Wright. Oh, my voice is going already.
It's my cue to take over then, I think, as through the final chicane comes Jimmy Wright. I'd say when's his luck ever going to change, but he really was the architect of his own downfall in Baku, hitting the wall under safety car. He has gone fastest though for now. A couple of tenths off Kyle's time in Season 3 though. Don't remind that 1 minute 24.201 is the benchmark they're all aiming for. Well, all except for Arnold, who's going to qualify on mediums, so we'll keep an eye on how that goes. But next up we've got Mr. Ben Shaw, who's been third here the last 2 times we raced here on F1 2020.
And he was pole in Baku on Tuesday night, and he told me why. He wasn't expecting it, as you rightfully called, Owen. But the reason for why he was so slow in the other qualifying sessions this season is because he had some stick drift, which he'd accounted for on F1 24 on his pad, which is obviously connected when his wheel is racing. But he hadn't made that change on this game, so he then made it in time for Baku and went pole on his first attempt at qualifying with no stick drift.
He's quick here as well.
So what can he do then? Ben Shaw, Season 8 champion, P1 for now, but no one's matched Tony's invalidated time as yet.
Now here's an important lap. We mentioned the one joker. It's Yuri Hasselager. He's won here before, hasn't he? At least in Kia Series, hasn't it?
Kia Series, yeah.
Yeah, or was it Leroy that won 2 races in 1 week? Maybe it was here it happened. I feel he must.
They
did
both
he not?
haven't
No,
they?
they both have done it, but one of them was a Silverstone win. Maybe they've both had it. Either way, Yuri's good at this track, is my point. We'll need to dig through the archives. That's going to bug me now. But Yuri, a bit of a snap through Maggots and Beckett's. That's not going to help his cause. Looking at the middle sector time, he's about 4 tenths off Ben Shaw's time, which will put him pretty comfortably in P5 if he sits there. Not surprised, by the way, to see the qualifying gap so close at the top, because the last 2 times they raced here, it was within a tenth of a second for pole position. It is mostly flat out this track, hence, you know, the gaps being the way they are. Yuri should slot in P5, but he's had a bad final sector, so he's gone only P8.
Intentional. That's intentional.
Well, it could qualify him 11th, but we'll see.
Exactly.
We'll see if Arnold can beat him. He's not. He's nowhere. I don't know if it's a gamble or not, but well, it must be a. Why has he done this? He's going to be last. This is horribly slow. Unless I'm misreading the times, but Arnold, he's gone for the mediums. He's going to be in the 25, 26s. That was the slowest time we've seen so far. That was valid, so I'm not too sure what that was all about.
That will not help Yuri at all. He's going to need the next 3 drivers to go faster than him, because Yuri definitely let off at the end of his lap there, because he obviously is the joker. There's no way he wants to start in the top 10 on the soft tyres when he's got 1 stop to make, unless he's planning an early stop for the hards to then go all the way to the end, but then it's not ideal. Anyway, let's see Jake O'Sullivan, what can he do here? Of course, Season 7 champion. This is where he won his 2nd of 3 titles on home soil, the only driver in JACKOCAR to ever win a championship on home soil, and he goes P1. Welcome back to the top of the timesheets, Jake O'Sullivan. 2 to go. It's Jonathan Mellers. Oh, sorry, Johannes Mellers, I should say. And that's awfully wide out of cops there.
It looked pretty committed, didn't it? I was watching offboard, and that looked like quite the experience. Maybe not the fastest way through there. The time for the middle sector was a 1:01.4 for Jake, and that's about a tenth and a bit off. That could be 5-6 places with how close this session is. So let's see if Johannes, the winner of the last 2 races, arguably the fastest driver for all 4 of our opening races this season. He's also missed the apex for the final chicane. We'll see how he gets on. I don't expect this to go to the top. Yeah, it's going to go P6. Corey Dalton, he's all yours.
He's all mine. Corey Dalton, he was in my DMs as of half an hour ago, saying he's never won a league race here in Silverstone. Again, we refer to home soil. Lots of British drivers. It is a British league. But Corey Dalton looking to right that wrong here in Silverstone. Round 5 in JACKOCAR. What he calls home. He loves it here. The crowd cheering as if it's Lewis Hamilton coming through into Stowe. Corey Dalton, he's looking for something absolutely massive. It's a 24.5 that he needs to beat. Can he get anywhere near Jake O'Sullivan's time? Round the final corner, Corey Dalton. He's only P3. But it's 5-6 British drivers in the top 6 here after qualifying for Silverstone.
Top 4 separated by 0.045. Front row separated by 0.002. I think we can safely say the drivers have gotten to grips with this game now. That was a very high quality qualifying session. No one got near Kyle's time, no one got near Tony's time really, did they? But what's interesting, and you did mention it as he crossed the line, Yuri has got what we used to call back in the day strategy pole in P11 on his Joker. The tyres in this track, they last forever. There's no better track for a one-stop strategy, and Yuri, you can see it there on your screen, he's parked himself in the perfect position. Jake is on pole from Ben, Corey, Jamie, Pete, Kieran, Johannes, Risky, Sullivan. I really should just call them their first names, shouldn't I? Leroy, Ben, Yuri, Gareth, who's from Russia, Mike, Florian, Baza, Arnold, Dustin. And then, we saw a few disasters out there for Robin, who invalidated, for Tony, who was the big invalidation, and him. He crashed. Michael O'Keke from last on the grid. Again.
Again. Oh dear. It's either 19th or 20th is where Michael qualifies this season. It seems to be the norm. It's a shame as well, because at the end of the Kia series last season, he was really getting his form back. I mean, he got that win. There was another race, I think it was Vegas, that he could have won if Ben Harrett just let off the throttle. Another 2 temps. Bastard. And that would have been a multiple race win season for OKK. But of course we've changed games again, and it seems to have knocked him back a bit, which is a shame. But I trust that with the amount of races we have left, surely there's a good result for Michael OKK, along with Barry Baldwin and all the others we've mentioned. Don't laugh, Owen. One joker this evening, it's Yuri Hazelaga, and as ever, 2 stages. They come at the end of lap 4 and lap 19. Everybody has to pit twice, apart from Yuri, who can pit any time he wants after lap 3. So yeah, that is Silverstone, and we are looking forward to it.
So, previous top 3s around here, pretty unremarkable, it has to be said. In Season 2, it was Kyle who won, Jordan second, Ben Shaw third. Pretty standard for the time. Season 3, Kyle won, Jamie Wright second, Ben Shaw third. Pretty standard for the time. So, we're not going to have Kyle winning it, at least. There's a change. Ben's up in second place now. And, we're going to see a new winner here in F1 2020 for the full track anyway. I'll do stats for the short track when we get there. I can't be arsed doing it at the moment. Not my job. But I'm actually doing this for your benefit, really, viewers, so you should appreciate it regardless. Anyway, as a driver's head round on their formation lap, we have, surprise, surprise, no one starting on the hards. I don't, even if you have a lap 1 accident, I don't think you're going to be using the hards today. I just don't think they're any use to you whatsoever. The softs and the mediums can get you plenty far enough on their own. So, obviously, top 10, you qualified on their softs, they'll start on them. Gareth is currently... That's not Gareth, that's... he is actually racing against Yuri and Sullivan, so that's not ideal, but Yuri and Gareth, they are on mediums, along with Mike, Baza and Arnold. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure what the plan was here for Arnold. He's put himself 16th on the grid. Not sure why. I'm sure maybe he's not confident. Well, yeah, we would be confident, right? He's not that bad. So, he's had a bit of an odd season. He's been exciting to watch, at least, and so he'll be certainly giving us some action for 16th, but I do struggle to see the logic behind qualifying on mediums at a track where you've just got no... The softs will be fine here. I mean, I just don't get it. We'll need to get an explanation from him later on. Tony, like I said, I'm pretty sure that's a default livery, to be honest with you. Very, very unimaginative. He must have been given a very, very late call to race. But
it was fairly late, I will say that.
So he's on sauce. Expect to see him come through the field as well. But with the way this track is, expect possible collisions at turn 1.
Pete and Khalifa springs to mind.
Yeah, even just this gen of car, it always seemed to happen in F1, where you'd have a bit of a collision at turn one, whether it be Vettel doing the customary weekly spin, or it would be Williams is spinning in front of Perez coming out of the pits. Turn one is just difficult, and indeed it's happened here as well with Pete and Khalifa. And even with Michael Okeke during qualifying, but, you know, no one saw that happen, did they? As we see pointing to the racing line, he's not interested in Ben Shaw. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing here at Silverstone. It's a shocking start from our pole sitter. He's going to lose the lead surely to Ben into turn one. Possible damage there as Corey goes side by side with Jake into the start of the tricky section. More cars going off. Is that Johannes again? He's now got himself a 10-second penalty. He never came back on the track, having left it at turn one. Still side by side, Corey and Jake. And looks like Ben is holding on to the lead so far. Good start from him. Jamie Wright up into fourth place ahead of Kieran, and that's Risky ahead of... Who's that? Is that Leroy who's up there in P7? Decent from him. Yep. Trying to keep an eye on where Yuri is. He's held on to P11, but he's been done by Arnold. He's gained 6 places. Gareth's gained 2. Or gained 3, sorry. So a lot of movement. But it looked to me like Johannes picked up just a massive amount of wing damage. Pete, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he's not damaged, actually. He was the one who had contact with Johannes. But he has lost ground, but no damage. So that's something for him. As off the road goes Risky, falling down to P8. He may even fall down to P10. This is very frantic stuff on the opening lap here. As running outside goes Gareth Hall, trying to make this one work on those mediums. Good move that is from the man who should have won this race in Season 6. Down the inside goes Arnaud to make it 7 places gained on lap 1. He's not going to get that done. Surely Risky's going to have to hold his ground. And he does so, but they're going to fight side by side. And P9, and he's really interested in this. And the fight for P9, it's like they're fighting for the race win here. This is terrific stuff. And there's contact between Arnaud and Risky. That's going to invite Pete to have his own bit of contact with Risky. And right on the outside, remember, no DRS until lap 3, so they're having to race the old-fashioned way, and Pete's going to force himself past and up into the top 10 once more. Johannes, well, the order's messing itself up again, but he was, what, something like 16th, and the damage is going to cost him big time because he's lost the whole of his right-hand side, so it's going to be a big struggle to get to lap 3, and now he's been hit by Tony, and that's just disastrous for him. He's lost both sides, only the end plates, but he's already into the gravel with it. You can see the instant effects of that. Mike as well down there at the back.
It should be no. I'll take over, shall I? OKK got up as high as 14th, by the way. Yuri battling with Sullivan Lewis there, but he didn't quite have the bravery to stick it down the inside of Woodcut. He's playing the long game, thinking this Joker is his. There is no better track to do it. And then here, so that's why he didn't go for a silly move. Pete Knighton, meanwhile, did make it through, and now is trying to hunt down Arnaud. Ben Shaw continues to lead the way here on lap 2 as we head into lap 3. Corey Dalton will be looking to do something about it, but he hasn't broke this train as Jake O'Sullivan, Jamie Wright, Kieran Spears and Leroy Hazelogger, they're all there. Even Ben Harrett up there for once this season. And then your first real gap all the way back to Gareth Hall in 7th as they file through turn 1. Ben Shaw is about to become under threat from Corey Dalton, though. I think we might have a change.
Oh, there's a big off. That's potentially a safety car. Robin, who was all down the grass on the main straight fighting with Dustin, has lost it through turn 1. We're only yellow for the moment, so that might give Corey a chance to pass Ben Shaw, but he's not close enough. Arnaud up into P8, coming around the outside of Gareth. I'm really surprised we've not got even a virtual safety car as Arnaud leaves the track, takes a penalty for it. Corey was miles off at Stowe on the last lap, so he may be picking up warnings as well. But look how close he is to the back of Ben Shaw. The car of Robin has been cleared, so let's say he was wide at the last corner, as was Dustin. Ran down the grass the whole way to turn 1, and then just simply loses it on the way through. So yeah, I can't believe that's not a safety car. But let's see if Corey.
Oh, big off!
Oh, that's Jimmy Wright. And he's not lost the whole front wing, but he's lost a fair chunk of it. At the front, though, Corey Dalton's right on the back, but not getting past Ben Shaw. And these guys are struggling. I mentioned the tyre temps might be a problem. I didn't think they'd be causing this much sort of just flat out spinning off the road. That's not contact doing that, is it? It's just natural mistakes.
Yeah, Jamie Wright just went straight on at Chapel. Didn't even think about turning left. As OKK gets a speeding penalty here on lap 3. Ben Shaw still leading the way despite the pressure from Corey. I don't think the DRS is quite powerful enough to get him anywhere near, providing Ben defends with ERS in the right places. But it's all happening here. We're only coming on to our 4th lapo, and it's mental. And it's JACKOCAR at its finest once again. Corey gets another dose of DRS, surely this time. But Ben Shaw defends hard and gets away with it.
Johannes, just worth pointing out, Johannes, I assume he'll be taking his 10-second... I don't think he has taken his 10-second penalty. I don't know if they let you take them on this game. So as he comes out of the pits, and Tony's onto hards, by the way, I don't get that at all. But as Johannes comes out of the pits, I am pretty sure he's not taking his penalty. So that could be just terrible if we get a late safety car and he has to keep that penalty and hold it to the checkered flag. Yeah, he still has it. That is a massive shame. But fight for the lead, it's more important. Corey, he knows that his main rival in the regular season championship is way down the back, so this is a chance to make some big points down the inside on Ben Shaw. Another yellow flag out for another off, and it's Pete Knighton this time, but he's recovered, so it wasn't as major as Jimmy Wright's. But Corey, that was nearly contact with Ben there. They were so close through the apex of Stowe. As you
he
see,
wasn't fully committed, Owen. It was a half-hearted move. It was late, and then he was, like Yori earlier, thinking about the bigger picture. He's like, no, it's a long race. I can do this. But Ben Shaw, he has some genuine pace here. And don't forget the 2 guys behind Corey, they're still very much in this as well. Ben Harrett is starting to back away, but look at Arnold. He's all the way up to P6. What a race he's having.
He's dragging Gareth along with him as well, it has to be said. He's not been able to get rid of him, so he's doing well on his mediums as well. Saying that both of these guys have been able to run out of ERS. Jake O'Sullivan's got a full tank of it. So definitely some management going on. Obviously, Jake is 3rd in the regular season championship. Corey leads it by 7 points, and then he's actually got 15 points over Jake. And with Johannes right at the back, you've got to say, if Corey can win this race, it's a very, very good day for him. And they do care about the regular season championship. It's not as important as the Championship 5, but it's obviously worth plenty in rewards. And so Corey would love to win that. He'd love to win this race. As you said, he's never won here on the F1 game before. So it'd be a good time to break that duck. Surprised none of these guys are pitted, although at the same time the tyres don't really drop off as Corey Downey does pit, not followed by Jake or Kieran. I wonder if Jake's going to take this lap to strike, because he's outside DRS, he's going to have to push, and now the ERS is being used, and you'll see the gap to Ben Shaw surely fall beneath a second before too long. Braking zone here is where the DRS detection point is. I think he's inside. He's used 20% of his energy. He's still got 30% sort of extra over Ben, so he'll have the free air as well. He could have a really quick in lap here, could Jake, and then obviously dragging Kieran with him, although you can see how much Kieran's dropped off just in the first sector alone. A lot of hidden pace here from Jake. Corey, unless someone's telling him, Ben, unless someone's telling him, they won't be aware of just how much he's been conserving the reigning champion. But I've got to say, if I'm going to call a race winner at the start here, he just looks so quick.
And Corey's had an awful X out of the pit lane. He went struggling for grip out of turn 3. But yeah, as you say, Jake looking very good. He's actually dropped Kieran somewhat on this lap as a move for P7. Mike on the inside of Bazza, good move that. Bazza wing damage, but what about Jake at the front? He's closing the gap to Ben Shaw, who's led all of this race. In fact, he won stage 1. But here goes Jake. He's made it look so much easier compared to Corey Dalton, who failed to get that move done on Ben Shaw. New race leader on lap 6. Ben Pitts. Not
surprised Jake keeps going. He's got so much pace. And I think Ben, he's slowed down to just 25 miles an hour there. And early as well. Really didn't want to risk... didn't want to risk the speed penalty to Ben, but I suspect it might cost him some time. Corey might not be too upset to see that, because if he had a bad run through 3, then that might have regained him the time he might have lost. But I think the overcut here for Jake, like I say, the tyres don't fall off. You've just seen proof of it. He could be overcutting himself into the lead of the race, so we'll keep our eye on it. But let's see Ben Hards again, don't get it. Really don't get it. It makes I genuinely I don't get it. I'm sure the drivers will tell me I'm wrong, but I do not get this strategy going on to the hards. He's not going to be able. He's not going to be able to catch up with Corey on these. I don't think. He's struggling for grip as well. It'll be freezing cold. It'll take time to heat up. That just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, Jacko.
Nope. I fully agree with you. I do remember from my racing days, the hards on this game were never a viable option. As games have gone on, they've become certainly more usable and even somewhat good at certain tracks. But yeah, the hards, I don't agree with it here. The only person I do agree with it is Yuri, who currently finds himself in P5 on the mediums. He's going to long this out and go on to the softs, I reckon. But also, back at the front, 1.5 seconds the lead. Jake O'Sullivan pits. And a new race leader, Kieran Spears, will take over. Arnaud has dragged himself up to P2. Stunning effort in the opening phase of this race.
I know, but you've got to be giving the credit to Gareth instead, I think, because he's not even got a penalty on him. He's been in DRS with Arnaud the whole time. This is very strong pace. Yuri was 10 seconds behind Jake when Jake came into the pits, so it would suggest that the pace isn't particularly amazing for Yuri, but again, you're on a slower compound tyre. You'll then have, well, they'll probably both be on sauce at the end, it has to be said, but he can make his stop whenever he wants, Yuri. I'd suspect around lap 17, 18. I don't think it's worth trying to start for the second stage. He may try if he doesn't think he can win the race, but if he does think he can win it, then maybe a wee undercut there could really help him out. So, yeah, maybe sort of 17, 18, maybe even on 19, go for the pit stop and see what happens, I expect. And hope Jake doesn't catch him by that point, because Jake's got Corey all over the back of him, and if Corey can get through, that's a big move, that, because I genuinely think that Jake is the quicker of the two. But if Corey can defend here, it could slow them both down, and Ben Shaw, despite what I think are the wrong tyres, it could keep him in this race. Off the road goes Dustin, just a spin. Ricardo spun there in the real race here in 2020. It's a difficult traction zone. And there's another car off as well. Jimmy Wright has gone off at turn 2. Gonna say it again, it's another bad race for Jimmy Wright.
Yep, Jamie Wright may be going hashtag Project Chase. If he does get in there, he's far too fast for it. But yeah, Corey, the thing to note here is his tyres 2 laps older than Jake O'Sullivan, so that may play dividends later on to Jake. But the gap at the front, obviously they're not in a direct battle just yet, but Arnaud is not taking his time, but he's also just about eating into that leader Kieran's. It is coming down every lap. Gareth is actually getting closer every lap. So who knows what these two are going to do. You could be looking at one of your race winners here down in P2 or P3.
Yeah, but they get lucky with the safety car time, and if we get any today, and
they are trying.
They are.
Trying.
We're having the right sort of offs for it, but we're not getting the safety car deployment. Unsurprisingly, Jake has saved a full tank of ERS once again. Very much just biding his time and using it when he needs to, but not running dry. Corey's only got 40%. He's pushing. He's got plenty of fuel to use, as has Jake. That's one thing I did notice about about Gareth. Well, actually, Arnaud's on the fringes of being low, but Gareth is running light. Yuri, similarly, running quite light, possibly anticipating safety cars. So, yeah, just interesting again to see the fuel strategy, because you can control your usage of it on this game, where you can't on 24. It's because of the real life rules with engine modes. It's not a Cody's thing. But, yeah, just interesting to see that element of strategy in there. Kieran's continuing to lead, proving that the sauce last. Again, he's sort of goal hiding a bit, isn't he, for a safety car? Yeah. If he gets one, I think he'll be pretty happy with himself. He won't get to the second stage. I don't think the tyres would have enough grip to keep him ahead of Yuri by that point. But he'll hide it for as long as he can. Just looking at Gareth. Gareth, it is DRS which is keeping him in play here. It has to be said, as we lose Risky. Now where's that? Is that the exit of turn 2? We get a virtual safety car. That could be what Kieran's looking for. And yes, it's the exit of turn 2 that we've lost Sullivan at. Just breaking traction, is it? Or is... I feel like there was a car coming out of the pits around there, but maybe it was him who was going wide. I did see a black dot was a bit wayward at turn 1 and 2, so maybe I thought it was a car coming out of the pits. Maybe it was risky in the middle of losing it. But pit lane entry. Here comes Kieran Spears. This should give him an advantage. Oh, we've gone green now, and Mike has sped. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it hasn't made much of an advantage. In fact, Arnaud has gained about 3-4 seconds on Kieran, because Kieran just had to put the brakes on. He must be trying to speed in there to get to the pits before it ended. And I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, new race leader, Gareth Hall. He leads in Silverstone on merit as well. He really is within a shout of the race win tonight. As much as we'd like a Yori win, a Gareth win.
Yes.
Imagine it.
Obviously, the pit lane is so slow here, so Kieran is going to come out some distance behind, but he's gone on to new. Wonder if the game's told us something that's incorrect. You can't. This is the zero stop thing I was telling you about earlier with Jamie Wright.
Yes.
It says he's still on his initial set of softs. There are softs on it, just not old ones. I don't think you can do that, putting old tyres on. Anyway, he's ahead of Ben, who's on the wrong tyre anyway. I know for sure he's on the wrong tyre. I think if Kieran's on a set of new softs, then he should be able to close up. I really hope the game's not sort of screwed him over here. But I'd love to know why it says he's still on his 10-lap old tyres and he hasn't made a stock, because we saw him pit. Anyway, Baz is holding up Corey here quite significantly. In fact, you could almost call it blocking as Corey comes through. He's got Jake coming through as well. He might want to look to the inside. He defends the inside.
Block, yes.
And he holds the lead. He's done what he needs to do. Do you want to say this one as well, Jacko?
New race leader, it's Yuri Hazelager.
Very exciting stuff, isn't it? I'm checking the teams again. Do you know what? Bazza wasn't even trying to block. He was just doing that for fun. Because he's not on either of these two teams. Do you know, in fairness, maybe 11 Apple tyres, he's playing the long game, isn't he? So maybe he just didn't have the grip. But, we all like a conspiracy. I cannot believe what I'm watching. Kieran has had to pit again. Why? Did the game seriously just not change his tyres on him? That's incredible. That's really unbelievable luck for Kieran. Why would that happen? I'd love to hear from him after the race to tell us how the hell that happened. Because you can't come through the pits and not change tyres. He didn't have a drive-through. Unless he did. I mean, maybe it went... We know that Mike got one. I can check race director, just have a quick look. I don't think he would have got any penalty for speeding. He did. He got a drive-through for speeding. I saw Mike's notification pop up. Kieran, he was speeding. That's why he put the brakes on so hard. I mentioned it, that Arnaud had closed right up on him because Kieran had put the brakes on, and he had been going too fast. He'd sped. Oh, so, what a shame.
Owen, does that mean so the game defaulted him to doing a drive-through?
He hadn't made it to the pit lane entry yet by the time he got the penalty. I'd have to assume.
Oh.
That does make sense, because we did see him really put the brakes on. What he was doing, I think, was he was flooring it to get to the pit lane, because you can break deltas once you get into the pit lane on time. But the VSC ended before he got to the pit lane entry line, which meant he was just speeding. So it's Kieran taking a risk there that hasn't paid off effectively, and it's a shame. That is a shame.
It is a shame, because it's actually ruined how this race was playing out. Remember, we had those 4 drivers at the very start: Corey, Ben, Jake and Kieran, part of that train. And then, of course, Gareth and are now joining them on a different strategy, with Yuri, the current race leader, on another strategy again. So potential race winner gone from this race. He really needs a safety car now, down in P14. Yuri, the gap It is coming down, but
I
not
know, but
rapid.
it needs to come down by just under a second a lap, doesn't it? And I
Yeah.
suspect Yuri will take some sort of undercut measure on sort of lap 17, 18, 19, around then,
Absolutely,
before
he
the
would.
end of the second stage, because he knows that the front two will muck about for that point, because they're leading the challenge. Anyway, they don't really care if Yuri wins the race, but Yuri does. So, he's now hoping we get no safety cars. Although saying that, actually, sorry, that's not true. If he gets a safety car now, he can pit. He may even keep the lead, and that would be perfectly fine for him. So actually, if he gets a safety car, I'll rephrase that. If he gets a safety car before the end of the second stage, that's good news. And he'll pit in that time anyway. If it comes after the second stage, he'll already made his pit stop. You'll just have to hope that Corey and Jake also haven't made their pit stops. So, yeah, if he gets a safety car between now and lap 19, I'd almost give him the win already. But, yeah.
Oh,
He's quick
less.
enough, isn't he? He's relatively quick around here.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
he keeps denying that he's just, like, any good, but you can't, after 4 races, still be 5th in the championship. It can't all be luck. Some of that is genuine talent. He is good on this game, and I think tonight is where he realises that, especially if the win comes his way. I mean, Corey, we spoke a lap and a half ago. He's only found the second on Yuri, which isn't enough. So, you know, there is a very good chance Yuri will actually come round and lead another lap here in Silverstone.
And he will keep leading. I think he'll be feeling relatively confident as he comes round. That gap going down, it won't bother him. So, just has to do what he has to do. Keep going. See what results come his way.
He's
Corey,
not done anything stupid like under fuel, like Pete did last race, did he?
Well,
Yuri's good on fuel.
he has underfueled, but he can save that. So that's it's not like he's laps down. He's about a lap down on fuel, which I think will be fine. I think he'll be able to live with this. I just want to say, give it credit where credit's due, because I was sort of expecting Jake to be quicker than he is. He's done well here, has Corey, because Jake's actually used nearly half his ERS and he's not been able to get past. Corey has used more than half, but the point is he's got the pace to hold on here and stay ahead. So I think absolute fair play to Corey. He's doing everything he needs to do. Did you say Corey's never won on Silverstone, like just in general, or on this game?
In a league.
Yeah, he's won here before in this league. I thought it's been bugging me. He won here in season 5. Granted, it's 25% race, but he won here in season 5. Or at least he crossed the line first, ahead of Pete, and we didn't give that race to Pete. So
that's very true.
And we didn't give that race to Kieran. He was third. So Corey has won here before, actually. Yeah, so
he's forgotten his own race win then.
Just I simply we forget all the stats. Yeah.
I told you what he told me, so
yeah.
I assume that must be correct, because surely, as a league racer, you remember the races you win, right?
I've never forgotten a race I've
Yellow
won.
flag, so KK's out.
Oh, what a surprise. But if we get a sit, sorry, that's actually, it's getting quite rude now. We have a full safety car, so...
It's perfect for Yuri.
What I expect, yeah, is as long as he doesn't do anything stupid here, Yuri, he can pit and come out probably just behind Ben Shaw in 4th place. And then he'd be bunched up, and he should be on new softs. They'll get to the end from there. We saw it with Kieran. They're plenty fast enough.
You're better off just pitting, lap 19, providing the safety car doesn't come in, and then you have 3 laps fresher tyres, unless you really believe that the tyres are good enough around here that the other drivers won't close down an 18-second lead, because that's what Yuri's going to end up with here.
Yeah, I think it makes all the sense in the world to pit this lap before the field closes up to him. He will barely use the tyres under the safety car. Maybe they'll have 5% or something on them by the time we go, which will be on around lap, 18 or 19. Which means all he has to do is hold on for 2 laps, and he'll be quicker for 2 laps. He may even get the lead on track in 2 laps. He may even be ahead before they pit. So, pit now, save your fuel as well. That will solve the fuel problems. This should be for some softs. He's being very careful on this pit limiter. He's doing all the right things. He knows the guys behind him. Well, they can pit, actually. There's nothing stopping them pitting. It just won't count towards their mandatory stops. But say if Ben fancies some softs to have a quick run at it for a couple of laps, but he doesn't. Yuri's the only one pitting here. On his Joker, it's brand new softs. And I'm going to stick by. I said, if he gets a safety car at this point in the race, give him the win. And I'm going to stick by what I've said. This is a winning strategy he's on right now. He's not going to quite come out in fourth. He'll be behind... R9 as well. He'll beat Gareth out though. So yeah, P5. I don't think he cares really. He'll take this. He doesn't have to do anything. Just say this is Gareth, the well-renowned ruiner of Joker strategy races. So actually, maybe we shouldn't speak too soon. But I think if Yuri's watching this back, he'll want to be hearing me saying that I believe he'll win this race, because I think he believes he can win this race. No point mucking about with jinxing it.
Now.
I think he's going to win this race. We said it in qualifying. You said it. If he qualified 11th, he's in a good position. He's had not the best pace in the world, but he's had enough pace to get to this point, and now he's got the tyres to make it a first Joker win on this game, on this track in a row.
And that is without incident, driving safely, like I mentioned earlier about when he could have thrown up the inside of Sullivan, but didn't. He waited, he got passed on track, like later on. And if you want a good omen, Silverstone has provided us with more...
Nope.
Oh, fuck, that's the wrong Haslogger, or the right Haslogger, I should say.
He's just put new tyres on, which is a surprise to me. Why he would retire now? But anyway, sorry.
It's alright.
Oh,
good omen.
Jimmy Wright's been disqualified for ignoring a yellow flag. I mean, how do you even manage that? Oh, he's overtaking the safety car. They've let him overtake the safety car, and the game's like, you can't do that. Oh, dear.
Oh, no. Anyway, I'll have a third attempt to say this. A good omen. No track has provided us with more Joker winners than Silverstone. So, I mean, just in the Cup Series alone, 3 on this layout, 1 on the short track. Can Yuri make it 5 in Cup? I don't know how many were won in Kia Series, at least 2, I'm sure of it. But yeah, no track has delivered us more Jokers than here in Great Britain.
Yuri's only got 1 track limits warning as well. I thought that was worth having a look at, because it just gives him that breathing room to make 1 mistake. I mean, there's a lot of drivers around at the moment with penalties, so it's not the easiest place to keep yourself on track for. I would have thought Corey would be quite close. I might as well have a quick peek while I'm on the safety car. Yeah, Corey's only 1 warning away from a penalty. Jake similarly. Ben Shaw is running pretty clean, but he has the wrong tyres on. But that's not much of a problem now, because he'll be able to change them. But
especially if they'll start squabbling.
I mean, if they start squabbling, his tyres will be fresh, but so will those mediums in front of him. I don't think those mediums will be struggling too much, so I still don't think Ben has any sort of advantage here whatsoever. What will be really interesting to see is how hard they fight for the lap 19 stage point, because that'll then lead to fighting hard on lap 20 to get into the pits. That's the beauty of our stage system. You've got to fight hard for 2 laps in this situation. Which means Yuri sort of has to sit back. He doesn't want to get himself involved in an accident, does he?
It's not worth it.
But if it does happen, it has to be said, if it does happen and Yuri gets involved in some sort of incident, then any fighting and squabbling that happens at the front can open this race up to anyone, like Gareth, for instance. Johannes has a 10-second penalty still, so sadly he's not a feature. Kieran's back in the running. We know he has pace. Arnold has a penalty, but again, if fighting happens around him, you never know. So, Yuri's absolute favourite, but there's variables here.
Interestingly enough...
Why is Jamie still going, by the way? Was he not disqualified? He was,
maybe
wasn't he?
That was, it was a game glitch, wasn't it? Now I think about it.
Can that happen, where the game decides to disqualify, but not really?
I'm sure it happened to Michael Okeke once.
Yeah, it's not even on screen anymore now, saying...
No.
It definitely was, though. I'm not making things up, honest.
No, it's fine. I was going to say, interestingly enough, this is the first time Corey's actually led the race. Safety car is in, though. Oh, this is going to be good, Owen. I'm just going to let you talk.
Quick mention on the new rules surrounding safety car restarts. I guess people were a bit nervous about them after Baku. Whatever speed you intend to restart the race at, you've got to basically stay within 7 mile an hour either side of it. as you prepare to restart. So Corey wants to go at about 50 mile an hour. So as long as he stays, around 43 to... Oh, he's gone under! Cheat! Disqualifying. It has to be a drastically slower or drastically faster than what he plans to go at. Just for fairness, just so no one crashes. Jake O'Sullivan's completely asleep on this restart, and I really don't
lose.
I don't get that, really, how you can be so unprepared. He's off at turn 1, and Corey was a bit wide himself. And off goes Arnaud, too. So, not much in the way of tyre preparation there for anyone there. As Yuri defends from Gareth Hall. Like I say, Gareth, even if it's not a win, he can smell a podium. At the very least, can Gareth. And here comes Ben Harrett. He can smell some action as well. He's on new softs. He's one of the drivers who pitted onto the safety car to try and take advantage over these next 2 laps of drivers who are struggling. We'll see how this one pays off for him. You'd imagine quite well. And Yuri...
Look at Yuri.
He's going to have to back off there because Arnaud's not going to give him the time of day here as they come through cops. It's all about, like I say, Yuri just keeping his composure. He will be a bit, especially, again, I forget what season it was, but it was the season Pete got wiped out on the restart lap through no fault of his own, and Yuri's gone off, so yeah, he's just got to keep calm. He's just got to keep it calm, hasn't he? He knows he has a big lead. I think he'd feel a lot calmer if it wasn't Gareth behind him. No offence to Gareth, but I don't think he'd disagree that he might have a tendency to accidentally cause problems for people he may not be wanting to cause problems for. But that was a boring lap, wasn't it? As Corey,
for what it could have been, yeah.
As Corey wins the stage, nothing happened. But anyway, Arnaud's on the back of Ben. He's picked up another penalty for cutting turn 1. So maybe it's worth going for some moves now. We know he likes a late dive bomb. Does Arnaud? It's become one of his key USPs in this league. There's no Arnaud without a dive bomb. They sometimes work. Sometimes they don't work. Also Vietnam.
Yeah.
So you never know what you're going to get with him, but you know you're going to get some sort of action. And he's come from 16th on the grid. If only he'd qualified properly, he may have actually had a chance at the win here today. But
Ben Harrett is
he's
having
on new.
a go at Johannes.
He's on new tyres. 13 laps newer. He's off the track now. So that was a bit clumsy. But his face, he was thinking about it. He was on the RS the whole way down there. He's just abusing the track limits now. He's not paying any attention to what he's doing. But he can't get himself past Johannes, who's struggling with that 10-second penalty. I hope for his sake he can take it in the pits, but even then, he'd need another safety car to get him back in play. So it's not really looking great. But, well, this could be the moment for Yuri Hasselager. He's really hoping that he sees the 4 cars in front of him all peel off into the pits. And they have. So, free track, apart from Gareth, of course. Gareth wants to cause him problems, doesn't
Ben's sure speeding.
And, well, that just makes his life even worse, doesn't it, Gareth? Or not Gareth, what's his face? Ben. So, hopefully it doesn't cost him too much. He may be able to hit that now, but I don't know how it actually works, how soon you have to pick it up, because we saw it in Baku, didn't we? They took them pretty quickly, but no, he's going to have to take that at the checkered flag. Not seeing much in the way of stacking in the pits, apart from Johannes, just, in case his race wasn't going badly enough. Dustin Arnaud as well is sat in his pit box, not going anywhere. Now he goes, he's ahead of Johannes, so he must have had to change a front wing or something. But Yuri, he just has to survive 6 laps. Gareth, he's goal hiding again for a safety car. You can't blame him for it. Same with Kieran. There's 6 laps, could definitely get one. So that's why somebody's just saying, now, keep an eye on Tony. He had damage at the start, so you've not been able to see much of him, but he's very much in play now, behind Pete now, and he's kept himself clear of any penalties. So if we get a safety car in the closing stages, that is where these guys who haven't pitted can take their chance. And Ben Harrett may well be taking his chances anyway, because he's on pretty new tyres, and he might want to get down the road relatively quickly.
And
saying that, he's getting overtaken.
Safety car is the last thing that Yuri Hasselager wants at this moment. He'll be hoping to just get to lap 24.
Pete's had an accident. He's into the side of... Oh my god. Into the side of Mike. I don't know how he's not hit anyone else. I really... that was heart in mouth, that was. Gareth and Kieran are into the pits. Sorry, I keep interrupting you, but things just keep happening.
I keep having interesting stuff to say, but yeah, Yuri will just want to be getting to lap 24 and everyone else to pit. He will hate that Ben Harrott is directly behind him, because Ben is going to make his life miserable until he pits for the second time.
Was it these two in Monaco a couple of seasons ago?
I can't remember.
I think it was, and it was really bad because Ben had like the puncture on the rear, and he took 2 laps to get through the pits, and then he came out and ruined Yuri's entire season by blocking him, and I think it caused an accident. He was like 2 laps down. One of those dramatic Championship 5 deciding, last race of playoffs. Me and Gareth were in the commentary box because, I don't know, you were racing probably or doing something interesting else. But
if it was Kia Series, I would have been, yeah.
We were too busy. Yeah, it's car-like.
So was it? Okay.
Yeah, they were both going for Championship 5. It was the win the chase. The point is, Ben ruined it for Yuri completely. Like, destroyed it from what I can remember. And if I've got that mixed up, then sorry, Sander. I think it was season 10. But me and Gareth were sat in the commentary, or season 9, and me and Gareth in the commentary box were just sat there really confused as to how could something go so wrong. It was as bad as season 4, for those who remember that race. Pete's had an accident. He's lost a bit of his front wing. Mike's into the pits. Corey, I mentioned he was close on penalties. He now has one. And he's on the back of Jamie Wright, who, don't know how he's managed this. I think he pitted on 19 now, didn't he? So he'll have to pit again, right? He's only on 3-lap old tyres, so the Mavs isn't working there, I don't think. I don't know how he'd get this high. Because I mentioned him pitting, didn't I, under the safety car, thinking, why aren't you disqualified? So I think he does have to make one more stop.
Ah, yes.
But anyway, Corey's on the back of him. Yuri, well, do you know what? To Ben's credit, he's not actually attacking him. Tony might want to attack him, but he's not able to get past Ben yet. Corey squeezes
nice
Jamie
work.
out.
We like that.
No love lost after Singapore, clearly. As Jake goes through, no fuss whatsoever. This is probably for net P2 now, 22 seconds behind Yuri. They're not going to catch that in 4 laps unless we get another safety car, but that would need to come out on this lap, really.
In a few seconds' time, I think we'll be clear of the safety car issue, and Yuri's still holding on. At some point, Ben Harrott and Tony Kirkpatrick will have to pit as well. What do? Ben pits, Tony stays out.
Yuri will be cursing this. Just go away, he'll be thinking.
Well, Tony is a teammate, of course. No teams in JACKOCAR. We've not said that this season, but there are this season. But on the outside world, team
Good
speed,
analysis.
You'd like to think Tony will not ruin this day. What is becoming Juri Haselarger's day. 98 Cup Series races have passed since he won in Austria.
So quite some time then. What season would that have been in? 6?
4. Whenever he won, I'm sure it's 4.
Season 4, 98
Sorry,
races
season
ago.
5.
Season 5.
Yeah, that was race 76, and this is race 176.
So it'd be 100 races since he last
So it
won.
would be. That means my maths is wrong.
Yeah, well, that's even more momentous then, isn't it? If he can do it, it'd be 100 races since his last win. But Tony is just making his life difficult because why not? Like I say, he'll be cursing this. He'll know that he has to get out of the way, Tony, because he'll have to pit. But he'll just be cursing the fact that he's there, and it'll be getting into his head. And he's not going to fight this at all, which is sensible.
Fair play.
And now he's going to hope that Tony pits, that he was just doing a really ambitious overcut. Which he was.
He pits. He pits anyway. Oh, he's been a knob.
Yeah. I don't expect Jake is going to need to do much in the way of fighting Corey now. I imagine he'll stay up in 3 seconds, so that would be second place. Sort of bagged for him. Kieran's a bit behind to get ahead of Ben, so Ben may still end up finishing 4th.
I don't like to preempt anything, but this is a bit of a luxury in JACKOCAR. We're going to get 2 whole laps. It's going to be a Juri Haselarger glory run to the line. It's very reminiscent of Lewis Hamilton last year in Silverstone when he had his winless streak ended.
Indeed.
So let's enjoy the next 3 minutes or so. Juri Haselarger, this is your moment.
Well, I was just thinking, maybe Maybe I should shut up at the start of the last. I feel like you're going to enjoy this win a hell of a lot more than Yuri is. I still remember
I
the
love
cheers
the
in
underdog
Germany.
wins.
I still remember the cheers in Germany in season 1. So I feel like that call. I should probably just shut my mouth for 2 minutes and just let you enjoy this because you're very much a day one member. I don't mind, in fairness, but you know,
Yeah,
you get
a
where
good
I'm coming
handful of
from.
people. A good handful of people are day one members, and they are all listed here to my right with all the stats. I won't go through them now because I'm sure I'll miss someone and then offends them. But this man, Yuri Hazelager, he sits 11th in points all time. He's a 2-time Kia Series champion, and now it's 1 lap to go in JACKOCAR before he becomes a 2-time Cup Series winner. He has an 18.5-second lead. The man just northeast of Amsterdam is on his way, and he'll be absolutely loving this. 16 Kia Series victories have come before. 1, of course, Austria in the Cup Series. Another one here will put him on to 18. He'll tie Khalifa El Khalifa all time. Some will dispute that and say, well, 16 of them don't count because they were in the lesser tier, and I would be one of those people. But this man, he won't give a damn as Ben Harrett picks up another 3-second penalty. Sector 1 is complete. It's got a lovely little drive down to Cops, wave to the English fans as he goes by. It's very much job done. This is more or less a formality. Corey Dalton P2, Jake O'Sullivan P3, but Yuri Hazelager in his 144th Cup Series start, which is his 232nd or 231st career start, is going to come home and collect another 20 points. A ticket to the playoffs here in JACKOCAR's final season. Season 11, he's 5th in the standings, and he said, I'm not that good, but he's a liar. He is that good. Once again, Yuri Hazelager, he's a race winner in JACKOCAR, and that's a fantastic drive from the Dutchman. Lovely stuff. Simply lovely for that man there.
We're on about race-winning gaps and stuff after Johannes, and he's only gone and won a race by 16 seconds. It's just typical, isn't it, for Yuri, as Jake comes through to finish in 2nd place. He'll take that. Nothing he can do about the Joker, and nothing they can do about the safety car timing. It just came at the perfect moment for Yuri. Corey in 3rd. He'll take it. Tony will definitely take P4 as well. The safety car came through to help him. He had a fantastic last 2 laps on those softs. Kieran in P5. Shame about the speeding penalty. He probably could have finished 2nd today. Gareth, good race in P6. He'll be very happy with that, I think. Drove very much on Arnaud's pace, which will be probably more important to him than the result, actually, because it shows he has genuine pace. Ben, P7, just a bit of a disaster, really. I think he'd agree on that. Mike, he had some disasters in this race, from what I can remember. He had a drive-through, didn't he? And he's ended up P8. Baz in 9th, Ben Harrod 10th, Johannes with a 10-second penalty. What can you do? P11. Pete, Brooklyn front wing, P12. Dustin, 13th. Jimmy Wright was disqualified but still finished 14th. We'll confirm the rest of the order in a moment.
I believe it was Florian 15th and Arnold 16th after all that.
Yeah, back where he started.
It really is unbelievable. So, Yuri Hazelager has no choice now. There's no project chase for him. He's very much in the playoffs, and of course that's a pure Joker win. So he gets a bonus 5 playoff points and another Joker winner at Silverstone, the 5th here in the Cup Series.
This is it. The only thing he hasn't managed is to get the pole position point, but really that wouldn't have helped his Joker if he had. So he's pretty much picked up maximum points, also fastest lap. But Arnold's a buzzkill and all that, so what can you do? I think it was actually maybe Tony who picked it up, but essentially, Jamie Wright. There you go. Well, I guess there's something to come out today with, despite being disqualified. But yes, it is Yuri who wins for the 2nd time in the Cup Series, 100 races after his last win. Just the way these things work, really, isn't it? It's funny, isn't it? Jake in 2nd, Corey 3rd, Tony 4th, Kieran 5th, Gareth in 6th, the Russian bloke, Ben Shaw in 7th, Mike 8th, Baza 9th, and Ben Harrett in 10th. Johannes 11th, Pete 12th, Dustin 13th, Jamie 14th, Florian 15th, Arnoud 16th, then Leroy, Michael KK, Sullivan Lewis and Robin Border were the retirements. And I think, do you know what? For the rest of the league, as much as I like having Johannes here and all the pace, I think a lot of people will be quite pleased that he genuinely didn't seem to have that much pace today. I don't think he would have, regardless of his penalties and issues, I don't think he would have been anywhere. He might have fought Jake and Corey, but I don't think he was actually all that fast today, which will give them
reassuring.
Yeah, it gives the rest of the field a bit of hope because, like I say, genuinely, he could have won the first 4 races had things gone just slightly differently. So that gives the rest of the field some encouragement. But well, they've all watched Yuri win a race. That'll give them all some encouragement because that's a driver he wouldn't have expected when he's had a great start to the season now. So maybe he should have expected it.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I've been saying ever since he got that.
He might have even overtaken Johannes in the championship. Actually, just had a points work. He has, yeah. He's overtaken.
No.
I think he is.
No, Johannes
is on 55 coming to this race. Yuri was only 12 behind him.
Yeah, and
he's
Johannes
just won the
would have
race. He finished
Johannes
11th.
would have scored 10. So
Yeah.
Johannes is now on 65, and Yuri is now on 63. So he's 2 points behind.
And a Joker win. Or do those
just
points go for
regular
playoff points?
That's playoff points, yeah.
Does 10th not? Does 10th? Hold on, but sorry, I'm getting my mouse. Does 10th not give 7
No,
points this season, or 11th give 6 points?
Where did Johannes finish?
11th.
Oh right, that's 6 points then. So I thought he finished 7th.
No, he got a penalty
In
short,
which-
10 seconds. So
In which
Yuri's
case, yeah, Yuri's ahead of him then.
up to second in the regular season points. Is what that would mean because he was only 4 behind Jake.
Where are you getting your? Oh yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, I'll give you that.
He tries to do maths once, you know. This is why I leave it to the professor, even though I did get it right. Yeah, I thought you just go along with what I was saying. Really, anything good about Yuri?
Not.
Good news.
My apologies, but what a feel good story for JACKOCAR. Yuri Hazelaga on the top step again in the Cup Series. Who saw that one coming? But fantastic race, executed it perfectly, and that'll give him, well, basically 7 races off really, and then he can come back and do the playoffs.
Indeed. I tell you what, if any of the Dua Lipa fan club are still watching, well, they may just have their new favourite driver. So we do tend to get the updates on this accidental piece of YouTubing history, which now has 45,000 views, which means we're already on 350 subscribers now. So I don't know where you all are, but if you fancy watching every now and then, me and Jack weren't that boring. I know we're not Dua Lipa, but you got to stick around for the whole seat. You got to earn that. So you got to be here, haven't you? But anyway,
Absolutely.
I think that'll be where we end that off. On a feel-good moment, on another exciting race on F1 2020. We still have, 16 of these to go. So I hope you're all enjoying them, because we certainly are.
Not had a dud one yet, have we?
Not at all.
Which is, it's amazing what happens when you come away from such a shit game.
Yeah,
That's my final take.
I'd be really surprised if Monaco next Tuesday will be a dud, because it always tends to be quite exciting. Just for the pure chaos. People can't drive on most tracks on this game. Whether they try Monaco, be a nightmare. Tune in for that. We will see you next week for yet another set of 2 races, Monaco then Spain. Thank you for watching. Safe travels. Have a good evening.